Room 101, Episode 3, Soylent Green and the Eco-Dystopia That Never Was.
You gotta tell him, Soylent Green is
a mint chocolate beverage. In 1966, Harry Harrison wrote a dystopian novel about an overpopulated, ravaged world with dwindling resources in the year 1999. New York City has a population of 35 million, and real food has become so scarce that the people live on Soylent wafers, a government-created and distributed foodstuff made from ocean plankton. Or so everyone thought. Born in 1925, Harrison cut his teeth writing and drawing pre-code horror comics in the early 1950s. And soon began writing science fiction stories and novels, including the Stainless Steel Rat series, Death World, West of Eden, and Make Room, Make Room, the basis for the 1973 film Soylent Green, directed by Richard Fleischer and starring Charlton Heston and Edward G. Robinson. In the movie, the year is 2022. And the New York City population is 40 million. As a cop on the case of a murder of a well-known government official, Heston's character soon finds himself in an investigation that people in power do not want him exposing. In the end, he gets into the Soylent manufacturing plant and discovers to his horror that the little green wafers are composed of people. When Harry Harrison wrote the novel in 1966, New York had a population of 8 million. In 1999, when the story takes place, New York City's population had actually declined to 7.6 million. Like so many people during the 60s and 70s, Harrison was overly impressed by Stanford University professor Paul Ehrlich and his wife, Anne Ehrlich, whose claim to fame was the infamous eco book, The Population Bomb, officially published in 1968. Ehrlich predicted worldwide famine in the 1970s and 80s due to overpopulation, as well as other major societal upheavals, climate change, aka greenhouse effect, etc., and advocated immediate action to limit population growth. While there are still some overpopulated areas of the planet, Ehrlich's book read more like something that Mr. Internet, Al Gore, would have written.
How dare you!
Like millions of others who ended up making the Ehrlichs very wealthy through record book sales, Harrison took Ehrlich's fear-mongering about the future to such an extreme that he had to finally admit his folly in a later interview. Quote, "How right were my predictions? Pretty bad in most of the general details," unquote. And yet, to this day, Paul Ehrlich continues to peddle his overpopulation fear porn. Keep in mind that in the 1960s and 70s, books and films about overpopulation and ecological disasters were widespread. An interesting film from 1972 called ZPG is about a dystopian future where the government bans, under the penalty of death, all pregnancies. One couple decides to risk having a real baby rather than to legally adopt a cyborg child. The film is available online. ZPG, or Zero Population Growth, is also an organization now known as the Population Connection that was coincidentally enough founded in 1968 when Ehrlich's book came out. But the film Soylent Green took things to another level. As I previously mentioned, they moved the year forward to 2022, and New York City with a population of 40 million people. There is a year-round heat wave due to climate change, aka the greenhouse effect. The earth is scorched, and very little real food is grown. Also keep in mind that if there was a 90-degree heat wave in New York year-round, probably half the population of the world would be dead. Today, the population of New York stands at 8,800,000, approximately 800,000 more people than when Harrison wrote the novel in 1966. And yes, they still have occasionally hot summers and very cold winters. The greenhouse effect, not so much. Additionally, because of the insane draconian lockdowns and mandates imposed by those unlovable incompetents, Governor Andrew Cuomo and his fellow traveling sidekick Mayor Bill de Blasio, 2019 through 2021 have seen a drastic decrease in the New York City population, a mass exodus beating both California and Illinois in the race for the worst states in the Union. By now, the population figure is no doubt closer to the original 8 million recorded in 1966. Elon Musk recently warned that we are facing the potential catastrophe of population collapse. Over the long term, stretching from prehistory to the present, the Earth's total human population has continued to grow. However, current projections suggest that this long-term trend of steady population growth may be coming to an end. Population collapse means services and infrastructure designed for large populations have to be downsized or, more realistically, left to rot. It means a strain on the tax base and an intergenerational tension as a smaller proportion of workers has to shoulder the tax and work burden of caring for a larger population of retired people. The Tesla billionaire stated, quote, "We should be much more concerned about population collapse. If there aren't enough people for Earth, then there definitely won't be enough for Mars," unquote. In the last few years, experts have warned that birth rates around the world are dropping, with a BBC report calling it a jaw-dropping decline. On the other hand, it is now predicted that by the year 2100, the world's population will reach approximately 10.9 billion. Considering that we now have approximately 7.7 billion people on the planet, how will an additional 3 billion look by the year 2100? It might not sound very desirable, but with continued innovation in energy, efficiency, reduction in waste and pollution, perhaps that number isn't so scary at all. Or as one great futurist once said, "If humanity survives, it is certain that new technologies will continue to put a huge dent in the population problem." I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Room 101. If you'd like to read Harry Harrison's Make Room, see the links in description. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.